Title: No War Tomorrow. Author: Wallace West. "Less," he gasped, regaining consciousness with a spine-shattering start and with the conviction that someone had played a dirty trick on him while he slept. That was always suspenso's after effect, along with a ravening hunger and thirst. Sage reached for the canned tomatoes which spacemen favor in getting their starving, dehydrated bodies back to normal. Then he recalled the comb-shaped vessel and squinted blearily through the blister above his hammock. The black sky was empty of everything except gigantic sun, unwinking stars and the blank and shining disk of Venus. "Guess they don't bother with small fry," he croaked, opening the can. After finishing its contents he loosened the hammock straps, dragged himself to the control board and cut the atomic drive. The pile could not be damped, and the fantastically high temperatures at which it operated safely in open space would vaporize the ship as soon as it struck atmosphere. Like it or not, he would have to jockey to a landing by means of a reserve tank of feeble hydrogen peroxide fuel. 12 hours later, after circling Venus 3 times to cut down his speed, Frank knifed into the planet's opaque cloud blanket and settled, with hardly a jar, on the Venusport field. As he clambered to the soggy ground he caught sight of Sadie Thompson racing through the mist to be the first to greet him. The same old Sadie, he chuckled when she was in his arms, alternately purring and biting like a kitten. Still wearing just as few clothes as the law allows and still breaking regulations. "Don't you know you shouldn't run out on the field like this? At least you've picked up a few pounds since the first time I came to Wallace." "Uh-huh. Got 'em dimples now." She exhibited a few. Like? He proved it, until she had to draw away to catch her breath. "What did Great White Father in New Washington say?" She lit a damp cigarette after several tries and dangled it expertly from a scarlet upper lip. "Great White Father say keep him shirt on." He grinned a bit ruefully as he tried to match her mood. "I told you." She tossed back her red curls, hugged herself and did a dance step. "You just listen to your Sadie and you'll save yourself a lot of spacey hopping. Now look here. Is that the way to greet a returning prodigal? You keep a civil tongue in your head, my girl, or I'll take the flat of me hand to you. Yeah. Sorehead. You'll have to catch me first." And she was off across the field with Frank in pursuit. Venusport officials tore up their speeches of welcome and shook their heads in despair. Sadie was in a much more subdued mood that night as they ate skimmer steaks and drank sparkling Tresket at Venusport's best cafe. She listened without a single wisecrack as he told how United Stars executives had insisted that no drastic action be taken against the big shots. But she leaned forward intently as he described the arrival of the mail packet at Moon Station. "Why, if what that captain said is true," she gasped, "it means somebody has invented a ship that can make interplanetary hops in 3 or 4 days. It means more than that, my sweet. It means a new fuel has been found which will permit trips to the outer planets, make Moon Station obsolete and open up untold trade possibilities." "Uh-huh." Her blue eyes opened wide and she reached across the table to grip his wrist. "It also may mean the end of all of us." "Nonsense. They said that about the first fission bomb. And they were 9/10 right, as you'll admit if you remember the history of the atomic war. But this may be far worse. Look, let's figure it out. Remember what those bombs did to the cities of Earth? Well, they were loaded with plutonium, the stuff we now use for rocket fuel. But plutonium furnishes just enough power to lift a ship, its pilot, 1 or 2 passengers, and a few pounds of payload from Venus or Mars to the Earth. A ship escaping from the stronger gravity of Earth can only limp as far as Moon Station without refueling. Do you follow me? So far. Frank finished his trisket and motioned the waiter to bring more. Go on. So if somebody has built a ship 10 or 15 times larger and faster than ours, it means that he has found out how to destroy atomic nuclei instead of merely splitting them by stripping off the electrons. In other words, he is possessed of a source of practically limitless power. Right. She patted his hand. And now we come to the 64 credit question, who is that somebody? Well, he couldn't be a good citizen of United Stars. In that case he would have turned over his discovery to the Commonwealth at once. It's too hot for one man to handle. So he must be either an incore or a big shot. Please pass those credits, Frank. Not yet, my pet. He must be a big shot, and only a big shot. No incore could get his hands on enough fissionable material to conduct the necessary research. Only the big shots could do that. The credits are yours. Now, what can we do about it? Frank twirled his empty glass and stared out at the lights of Rainswood Venusport. He was fond of the little place, and the thought that it stood in the shadow of disaster made him feel ill. When he and Sadie had helped the underground to take over the town 5 years before, it had been a dripping pest hole where arriving Incers were robbed of credits and equipment, then shipped off to virtual slavery in big-shot uranium mines. Now it was a U.S. outpost, clean, rebuilt and thriving. Adventurous youths who elected to leave the well-ordered societies of Earth or Mars to sow their wild oats under conditions of untrammeled freedom on Venus were well protected while passing through the port. Even criminals and other antisocial exiles were entitled to a stiff SP indoctrination course in the weird geography and topsy-turvy customs of their new planet. One and all were guaranteed free return trips to their homes whenever they gave proof that they had reformed. I suppose this means another war, Frank said at last. And if it comes, it really will smash everything beyond repair. Maybe not. Sadie thrust out her dimpled chin. You mean the big shots will give up their discovery without a battle? Not a chance. If I know them, they'll try to use it to set up a triplanetary dictatorship. Oh, be your age, Frank. Dictatorships are out of date. They won't work. Never have worked for more than a few years. You won't catch up to the minute big shots betting on a horse that Hitler, and Mussolini, Stalin, and all the others rode to death. Then what? He was beginning to be angry, as he often did when Sadie disagreed with him. They'll plan to use the invention as a lever which will allow them to return to positions of power in United Stars. Think what that would mean to them in terms of graft and legalized robbery. They'd be sitting pretty in the middle of everything once more, instead of being tucked away on the fringe of civilization. The United Stars would never agree to that. It would mean war. I doubt it. The girl picked the strawberry out of her trisket glass and chewed it thoughtfully. Both Wild Oasia and United Stars know that another war is impossible. Say that on Monday the big shots wrecked every city on Earth and Mars with a new type of bomb. A month from Monday our V-60s would hit Wild Oasia and wipe it off the map. No bomb of any kind could destroy our V-60 dumps without setting off a chain reaction, which would reduce Earth to a cinder, he snapped. A chain reaction wouldn't stop there. It might turn the whole solar system into a nova. Just one big ball of atomic fire. Nua, my friend. The big shots know they couldn't escape a chain reaction. And they like to live as well as anybody else does. What's your solution, Sadie? Frank stared at her with a sort of wonder. She looked so much like a little girl, despite the gown which she might about as well not have been wearing. We've got to beat the big shots at their own game. We've got to invent a substitute for war. A substitute for war. His respect turned to disgust. You're nuts. There ain't no such animal. Says you. As always, when under the strain of great excitement, she dropped into the half-gangster, half-Western argot which she had picked up while fighting in the underground. "Listen, wise guy. I'll bet you 5 grand I can cook up a substitute the big shots will fall for like a ton of bricks. Some sort of game, I suppose," he jeered as he picked up the check. "Game, my eye." Seeing his bewilderment, she leaned forward and nibbled his ear. "I'll give you just one tip. If an atom bomb explodes, where's the only place it can't do any serious damage?" "Why? Why? Holy cats. Maybe you've got something there." "I've got everything." She rose lithely as if to prove it. "Come on, let's hit the hay. We're going into Wild Oasia's Inkers tomorrow. But the Space Patrol has the authority to inspect every big shot mine and factory." "Why should we go incognito?" "Because I like to stay alive, chum," she answered, slipping her hand under his arm.